Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Stormy, your host of the show, and I want to talk about play and inner child play, and not just like, oh, connect with your inner child, but like inner child is activated and she's front and center and she's in the driver's seat. That's what I want to talk about. So, over this past weekend, I went to a place here in Cincinnati called Activate. And it is a place where, first of all, you feel like you're in a spaceship. And it's like lots of lights. You have this wristband. You go in with a group or like, two people. I went with just one other person, but you go in with however many people you want to go in. You tap in with your wristband and you go into a room and like you play these like interactive, fun, brain, physical kind of active games. So like one was like basketball hoops and you're shooting the hoops of different colors. The other one, there's like this laser that happens kind of like you feel like you're going to like steal a piece of jewelry. It's like those lasers. So they shoot across the room and you're like climbing above and below and you're trying not to like hit the laser or like get disqualified. So the whole goal is to like continue to go up the levels, and each level like is harder in difficulty, and it's just like fun. And so I went there, and I just felt so activated, like so like, oh my gosh, I don't even like I forget that I am an adult human. Like I feel like I'm a kid again. And I was talking about this with someone the other day, and she was like, yeah, like there's not enough places for like adults to play like this. Like what happens? We like lose this. And I feel like, and this is what I had seen in like even in my nursing career, where you see as we get older or like when people age, because I had worked with like older population, when people age, as we age, we lose that connection of like playfulness and fun and joy. And we get so bogged down with our like societal tasks and what we have to do, and having things make sense and it's logical and it's realistic, and you've got level head and you're on your shoulders, all these kinds of stuff. But it gets so much where we go into that where we forget how to play. Like we're here on earth to enjoy and to be activated and to laugh and to play and be lighthearted and love and all of these things that we forget when we're doing all of our other like adult stuff. And it's not like it's like usually you think that like either you're immature or you're immature or like you're serious, and you have to kind of choose which one you're going to be. And I think that's like a load of bullshit. I think that we can be both. I think we can hold both at once. It is sometimes the most mature thing to be immature and have fun and play. So I just want to say, like, there's has to be something out there that you can do to activate your inner child, and just things like open up when you do that. So I was like, whoa, then like my creativity was like being activated, and I was like forgetting that like, yeah, life is fun. Like life is fun. We can have fun and it's enjoyable and it's like what we make it, but also we could be in that place where like inner child is just like beaming, and like what does she want to do? Like what does she want to how does she want to communicate? How does she want to work? How does she want to set up her relationships? Like how does she want to feel? And a lot of this is like we can hear, if you're not taking care of your inner child, then it'll like run your adult life, which is like, okay, fair if it's not in check, or if you're not realizing what aspect of you is making the decisions. But I don't think that is a bad thing. Like I think when you have awareness around it, then you're able to connect with the inner child, and sometimes she's going to show you how to do something that's easier, funner, and in alignment, because it's so pure in the intention of like, this is what I want to do because it's going to be fucking fun. Then it pops off different than when you're in the ego mind of like your adult, like how can I make a business out of this and make sense logically and all this kind of stuff. So I want you to think about an activity that you can do that is going to let your inner child just like run wild. And another thing that I do as like a morning routine, I'll anchor in and let her like color in the morning. And so this is just like letting a different aspect of you come lead. And so we have all these different aspects within ourselves. And sometimes we're only ever leading with one specific aspect. Like we only know how to view our life and our lens and our experiences with our adult glasses, or the lens of some experience or whatever. But like we have so many lenses that are available for us. We could try, it's like this saying, like take a walk in somebody else's shoes kind of thing. Like you can do that in aspects of yourself because you're so vast and so big and so epic. So what aspect are you not tapping into? Inner teen, inner child, your like most expressed, your different flavors of yourself. Like you can bring all of those into one being. But it's fun to say, hey, I'm going to take this day and let her just like lead. How does she want to? And maybe you're not doing anything different. Like maybe you're still doing your 9 to 5 or your work, or you're doing the same things that your adult self would do. But how could you possibly do it in a way where your inner child is leading? Like, can you be in that meeting and be a little bit more playful and like have like a little lightheartedness and not feel so serious and be like, oh, this is kind of like all a fun game that we're all playing like here on earth, and like reminding ourselves to not take ourselves so seriously of like, hey, let's try, let's give it a go. Maybe you can approach a date like that, and you go on a date and you're like, yeah, I'm going to explore this side of somebody. Like I'm going to explore this side of me in this relationship, or I'm going to go for a walk and just like stare at the trees and the sun coming in, or I'm looking out my window and I'm like, oh, wow, the sun just came out. And then your inner being can just be lit up. Like, can we pick the day-to-day moments where we do have those monotonous moments, the day-to-day things that have to get done, but can we add the lens of the inner child to activate the fun in life? And when we get so serious and so pressured on like, what is my purpose? Or I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like all these things. It feels hard. It feels rough. It feels, can I do this? And life just feels like it's lifing, like, so strong. And you're like, how, like, when did life get like this? Like, well, I can't remember the last time I had a good time or laugh, like had a really big belly laugh, or enjoyed myself in my friendships, or it wasn't so serious or whatever. Like, how can we activate more of that in and be in that energy of uh, inspiration and innovation and like pretend and like have this bigger vision? And I want to say this feels so important for us in 2025 of having this bigger vision of what we want to like lean into the year with. Like what are we mapping out the vibrational groundwork of the year? What's the energy that we are going into holding, saying, hey, this is the big vision, this is the word of the year that I'm choosing, or this is the lens that I want to see my life through. And if it's feeling like boring and dull and not that fun, like it is within your own reality to change. Like you can do something so simple to switch that. Like, for example, coloring in the morning. Like how fun is that? I think it's really fun, but maybe that's not your thing. Maybe it's doing something else, like playing a video game, or maybe it is jumping up and down. Like I have a rebounder that I'll jump up and down on my trampoline for my lymphatic flow, and that's fun. That like activates like this energy, and so I want more of this. Like you see morning routines being like so serious, and like, meditating and journaling and all this thing is so great. And sometimes those bring really good value to myself of like brain dumping, or getting into your energy and stuff. But you could also tap in and get into energy when you're in that energy of play. And I think that's when we are our most creativity, or when we're tapped into our creative flow and our alignment, and the just that flow state that happens is when we're in that creative aspect and not like thinking so hard logically. So when we're in that, we're like, yeah, let's just like flow in that, and let's just see what we can bring in and what different flavor and lens we can bring to our world, to our situation, to our job, to the meetings, to our relationship. Like, can we add a little zest and like playfulness, little confetti in our lives. And it doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to make these big life changes or decisions. I mean, you can, but like, can you do something so small in a night routine, in a day routine, or can you do something fun on your phone for a little bit, or do a little doodle in between meetings or whatever? Like, I think, and this reminds me of the movie that I watched this just a few weeks ago. It was part of my holiday um, movie list, was 13 going on 30. And there's so many codes in that movie of activating like that innovation. Like, you come in as a 13, if you haven't seen the movie. So she's about to turn 13, but then she's like just drops into her life as she's 30, but she's 13, like mentally, like she only remembers being 13. And so here she's 30, having this corporate job in this marketing place, and she's like trying to figure out adult life, and she's dressing like she's 13, and she's like not trying to be, all like posh and sophisticated and stuff. She's just like literally living her 13-year-old life and trying to navigate. But it shows like how much it changes things and how things open and the trajectory. Anyways, the movie, watch it. It's very important for this, I think, for 2025, because it's like, okay, you're going into life in this type of energy of like how she was. And then she goes in and revamps everything, and then gets to like recalibrate her life because she's like, wait a minute, I don't want that trajectory. So it's this buzz, this youthfulness, this playfulness, this way of being where we can reinsert ourselves into our lives with a different energy. And this is just by intention and decision and saying, this is what it is, and so it is. So it's like, how can we navigate in our lives in a different way, in a fun way, and remember that we're here to do this on this earth. Like, we came to earth, we forgot why we're here. Most of you that are listening to this, pretty much everybody that's going to be listening to this podcast, you came here to raise the vibration of the earth. We came here to do things differently. We came here to forget our mission, forget where we came from, forget the bigger picture of why we chose to be here at this time, in order to have the journey of exploring a remembrance and a reminder to be like, oh, this is why this is resonant, or this is why I'm attracted to this, or this is why I'm so inspired by this. This is why I'm focused on this problem, because I'm here to fix this. Like, and the whole point is enjoying the process of the remembering. And we want to so desperately just fast forward into like, I want to know everything. I want to remember everything. I want to know what everything is going to happen. And we get out of that like surprise feeling, like we want to know the whole plan and layout of what is to come, rather than leaning into like, hey, I'm going to be playful, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how the game's going to turn out. I don't know if I'm going to win or lose, or maybe there is no winning and losing, and there's just a variety of colors that we get to go through. So it's like, how can we just like think about life a little bit differently and not feel like, okay, I'm going to task these things off my list. These are my goals. These are the visions of like the physical things I want or I need to have, all these things, and maybe just shift them into like, hey, this is my intention. This is the way I'm going to live now. This is my idea of how I want to move through the world, and this is how I want people to feel me when I come into a room. Like, I want my energy to feel this way to other people, like coming in with a specific intention of like, this is the energy of the year I want to bring in. I'm going to anchor into this, maybe choose a word. I'm going to have a session with myself to do this. I like to plan out my year based on the numerology of the months, and go through my tarot readings for each month, and then also tune into a word for the year, and a word even for each month that like matches the energy and the card of that month, to like anchor into those things. So think about like, what would be a word you would have to describe 2025? Like, if you wanted to reflect back on 2026 and say, this year was blank, like epic, miracle, fun, play, whatever. It could be a phrase, masterpiece, unique, like any word that is coming to mind that you want to like, you would want 2025 to feel like it embodied, to be like, oh my God, 2025 was so blank. What would be that word that you want to like bring into the world, or reflect back on or have an experience of? So decide a word. I have still yet to decide mine. I'll be focusing on that in the next few days to anchor in. But I think it has a lot to do for me is like, how can I bring in more play? And maybe that'll be my word. We're gonna think about it. I'm gonna meditate on it. But I think it feels so important for this year to, despite everything that's going on in the world, and all the things that are in media and news and situational things, and just a lot of stuff happens in the external collective to like kind of bring us down, bring us into fear, bring us into, oh no, what's going to happen, da da da. And it's really, if you're having fun and if you're playing and you're creating and you're innovating, like you don't have time to be in fear. Like it doesn't exist together. So it's kind of like overriding that pre-programmed system that they're trying to deliver to us and be like, no, I actually opt out of that program and I opt into fun, play, love, and joy. And not that you're not going to have a roller coaster of emotions or experiences in life, because that's what we signed up for. But like, how can we really turn on and activate this aspect of ourselves that just enjoys life, that enjoys the experience, that enjoys a cup of coffee, that enjoys looking out the window in the sun, that enjoys the mundane parts of life that feels like, oh, they're mundane, but like, what if those are the little miracles spread out into the world, into your life? And those are the moments you're going to reflect back and be like, whoa, I wish I was more present for that, because like that was the magic. So ask and tune in what your inner child wants. You can meditate on this a little bit, journal a little bit, think about what your childhood self liked to do, how she played, what she did, what she liked to daydream about. And maybe it's something new she always wanted to try, and you get to help her try that, like pottery, or like a fun activity, or finding a place that you can release your inner child, like a place called Activate. Maybe there's one in your city too, which I highly recommend because it was such a blast. I'm actually going again. So tune in and see how you can activate more fun and play in your life. And I think that's how we get to really shift a lot of things and our experience. And the sun is coming out. So I think that's a yes from the universe. So until then, I'll see you in the next episode.